Hello and welcome. Today I will try to teach you how to set up a little lab for the RHCSA. This is a prerequisite to the other labs that I will be having on my YouTube channel. You can find here on my GitHub the Vagrant file, which you will use in combination with Vagrant and VirtualBox. And with those two software you will be able to run the little servers that we'll use for all the labs in the preparation for the exam. And basically if you follow through and listen to the comments I make about these different tasks and labs, then you should be able to pass the exam relatively easily. Of course you need to do them, so this is the tricky part. You need to do it to understand what you're doing. Basically here we are setting up two little virtual machines. One will be server and one will be client. You can call them whatever you want, server A, server B. You can change this config, but this config I made is pretty straightforward, and it's a good setup to start because we are also adding some hard drive, virtual hard drive, so that we can also work with different exercises requiring that, and that's pretty handy. So basically I'm gonna show you how it's done. So basically I just copy that file, which is called, like you see, this Vagrant file. It's important that you keep the wording correctly, so it has to be called Vagrant file with a big V. And once you have that, you can check the Vagrant status, for instance, and it will tell you what's happening here. In this case we have the machines are there, but they'll power off. So I can just destroy them just to show you. I will just destroy those machines. You could destroy one or the other. I will just destroy them all. So by just saying Vagrant destroy, it will destroy the virtual machines in this directory. So I will destroy both of them. May they rest in peace. And now we are going to recreate them. For recreating them is very simple. You would do this from the start. Basically you would do a vagrant up command. You will basically download the images from the vagrant box, and then you will be able to play with them. So it will basically provision them. So that's what I'm doing now, so you will see exactly what's happening. If you do it for the first time, you just need to copy that file that you have here in GitHub. I will put the link in the description of the video. And once you have that, well, then you can start running this with Vagrant up in the directory. Of course, you need to have VirtualBox and a Vagrant installed, possibly the latest versions. You don't need to do anything with the virtual guest plugin thingy, because we won't be using that. It's not necessary for this. Yeah. You can see that the guest addition, the coded guest additions, this is something that is nice and friendly to set up, but to be honest, it's a bit pain in the ass and we don't need that. So it's completely unnecessary here. So now it's preparing the VMs, and they should be ready relatively soon. So let's see. Yeah. The RHCSA is an exam where you will have this exact setup. Most of what I've heard and the one I passed, basically you have two servers and they will ask you to navigate from one to the other. Mostly you will be working on one, and then you will have a bunch of tasks on the other. Different tasks, some of them the same actually. For instance, setting the repositories is, I think, a must. And those repositories will be local, which means you won't be able to use anything that's not in the local repository. For instance, one thing that I found useful but that you cannot use is the TLDR little utility. TLDR, for those who don't know, it means like too long didn't read. And it's basically a very useful tool if you don't want to read the documentation, because it will give you the most useful examples of a command line. And I like that, but it's not, you cannot have it in the exam. I tried to install, it doesn't work. So it's just not there. Actually, maybe it could be in the version 10 of the exam, but I did version 9.3. Anyway, I wouldn't rely on that. So if you were wondering, just don't rely on that. You will and you should be able to navigate the documentation inside of the manual, so man commands. So now we have our two VMs. Once you have your two VMs, you will see if we do a Vagrant status, then it will show you that we are having them as running. Once you have them as running, you can just do a Vagrant SSH server on one side. You will enter the SSH command line, and then you can also create a new tab, and then you can connect to the other Vagrant SSH client, and then you are on the client. I suggest also, it's not very good practice, but for the purpose of the exam it's great. You just do a sudo -s, which will keep your profile, but doesn't matter, just put that to enter the root command line, the root prompt, and that will make everything quicker when you send things up. The point being that you want to speed up the process, and so you do this on both sides, and then you're good to go. That's the basic setup we'll be using in most of the videos, so it would be good that you start with it. I also recommend that you follow the order of the video I will be making for this RHCSA, because it just makes sense. And they also build on top of each other. Sometimes I would do some firewall things that I won't do later because it will be just in place. So just follow the order in which I'm going, and then you should be good to go. But with that, you have the basic setup that you need in order to follow my videos for the RHCSA. And if you follow these labs, then I'm quite sure you will pass your exam. Well, follow me in the next video.